She took everyone by surprise and flew into the country. He was robbed on a lonely path not far from his street. Sir, I cannot endorse these contracts. They are inflated, and the vendors are ghost companies. Boss, this is business, not one of your ancestors' council meetings. If you can't play dirty, step aside.
You're about to hear a story that carries the heart of Africa. Subscribe to African Folktales by MaC-Anison TV, where every week we share rarest African folktales you won't find anywhere else. Your subscription is the fuel that inspires us to bring you the very best of our storytelling heritage. The Okoye family and the Marshall family arrived back in the city. Their time in the ancestral village with Chief Onoche had changed something within them. Their minds were awakened. But the city hadn't changed. It was still buzzing with modern chaos, confusion, and temptations. Mr. Okoye, looking out the window, "This city, it feels different now, doesn't it?" Mrs. Okoye, gently. "No, it's not the city that changed. We did." Ebuka peers through the window, noticing the familiar billboard of a new fast food outlet. Ebuka. "Wow, they opened another one already. 2 months ago, that spot was still under construction." Amaka, disinterested. "Everything grows fast here. Fast food, fast life, fast lies." Mr. Okoye. "But no roots, just branches swinging in the wind." They drive past a group of people arguing on the street, horns blaring, smoke rising from a roadside suya stand. The noise was almost overwhelming now. Mrs. Okoye. "I wonder how we used to live like this." Mr. Okoye. "Because we were asleep. But the village, the silence, Chief Onoche opened our eyes." The Marshalls, in their own car behind, observed the same chaos but with a different reaction. Mrs. Marshall. "Finally back to civilization. I missed this energy." Mr. Marshall. "It's good to be back where things actually work." Their teenage son Jason scrolls rapidly through social media. Jason. "Omo, Lagos is hot again. Can't wait to hit the club tonight." Daughter Zara giggles while applying lip gloss. Zara. "Real vibes only. I need to refresh my wardrobe, I beg." But for the Okoyes, the city now looked like a place of tests. And for the Marshalls, it was a return to comfort. The Okoyes tried to keep up with their new lifestyle. They woke early to meditate, greeted the sun, and blessed their food with ancestral proverbs. Their children, Amaka and Ebuka, stopped eating junk food and started planting herbs in recycled cans. The Okoye family on the balcony, barefoot, facing the rising sun. Mr. Okoye, softly, eyes closed. "Let the sun awaken what the city tries to bury." Mrs. Okoye. "Let the spirits of our ancestors guard our day." Amaka, stretching her arms. "And let today remember where we came from." Ebuka waters his herbs. A neighbor watches from her own balcony, puzzled. Neighbor. "Una de do yoga or cult?" Mr. Okoye turns with a smile. Mr. Okoye. "We do the ancestral alignment." Same neighbor scoffs and turns away. Later that day, the family sits together, pounding yam as a unit, laughter filling the room. Mrs. Okoye. "Ebuka, your turn to pound. Strength is not in age." Ebuka. "Yes, Mama." As Chief Onoche said, "If you can't pound the yam, you shouldn't eat the soup." Mr. Okoye, to neighbors. "No more synthetic food in this house. We prepare our meals the way our forefathers did." The neighbors laughed. Neighbor 1. "Okoye, you be bushman now?" However, to "See as your wife dey dress like native priestess." Mrs. Okoye steps out wearing a flowing Ankara gown with cowries as earrings. Mrs. Okoye, smiling. "The priestess has arrived to bless your soup and your soul." They all laugh, though some mockingly. At school, Ebuka is sitting under a tree during break, writing in his journal. A group of classmates gather. Classmate. "Oga, this one na Legoso, not shrine." Ebuka calmly replied, "Wisdom has no postcode." A female classmate claps lightly. Female classmate. "That's deep, Ebuka. What are you writing?" Ebuka. "Thoughts. Proverbs. Things I don't want to forget." Mr. Okoye walks into his boss's office, files in hand. Mr. Okoye. "Sir, I cannot endorse these contracts. They are inflated, and the vendors are ghost companies."
Boss, this is business, not one of your ancestors' council meetings. If you can't play dirty, step aside. Mr. Okoye stepped aside. The room is silent as he places the files on the table and walks out with quiet dignity. Back at home, he breaks the news. Mr. Okoye, they've moved me to a smaller role, less pay. Mrs. Okoye holding his hand, but more integrity. Amaka, I can start tutoring kids after school, let me help. Ibuka, we don't need to shine like others, we just need to glow from within. Mrs. Okoye visits her friends from the city, who are gathered in a restaurant, sipping cocktails. Friend, you always talking about herbs and moonlighter. We don't vibe like that anymore. Mrs. Okoye pours Zobo into her calabash cup. Mrs. Okoye, then perhaps I need new friends. Another friend whispers, laughing. Friend 2, she don't turn herbalist. Na so madness they start. Mrs. Okoye stands, places a cowrie on the table. Mrs. Okoye, a gift for protection. You'll need it in this city. She leaves. Outside, she breathes deeply, adjusting her head wrap. The Okoyes stood like Iroko trees among matchsticks. Storms came, but they stayed rooted. The city didn't change, but they had, and that alone was powerful. Instead of breaking, they built anew. The Okoye family stands before a small piece of farmland at dawn. Birds chirp. The ground is wet from last night's rain. Mr. Okoye, looking at the soil, this land, it still answers to those who respect it. Mrs. Okoye, placing her hand on his shoulder, and you, my husband, are finally listening. They begin clearing weeds, planting okra, yams, and native herbs. The children help, sweating but smiling. One evening, Mr. Okoye attends a local cooperative meeting. Local farmer, no easy to start afresh all, especially for city people like Una, Mr. Okoye. True, but sometimes peace grows best in the soil, not in skyscrapers. Inside a thatched hut, decorated with ancestral masks and healing herbs, Mrs. Okoye attends to a client lying on a mat. Customer, Madame, since I started coming here, my mind day settle. Wetin you day use? Mrs. Okoye, smiling gently, I only remind your soul what it used to know. Another customer, this incense, it smells like my grandma's room she used to sing in the evenings. I haven't remembered that in years. Mrs. Okoye, the ancestors are never far. Sometimes they just need silence to speak. A humble space now transformed into a makeshift podcast studio. Traditional African fabrics line the walls. A mic hangs from the ceiling like a chandelier of truth. Posters of traditional masks mix with graffiti-style fonts. Daughter, today's topic, why your great-grandfather might have been cooler than your influencer. Son, let's blend this tea. Our ancestors slayed before slay queens were a thing. Daughter, they built civilizations. You just built a Snapchat streak. Both laugh, cue drum beats and theme music. The camera pans out as rhythmic beats echo from a small Bluetooth speaker. The energy is electric, but grounded in deep ancestral wisdom. The Okoye children, Kamsi and Dara, are in their element, bridging the old and the new. Kamsi, son. People day talk say tradition day outdated, but I tell them say, nah, the Wi-Fi of our soul be that culture. Dara, daughter, laughing. Exactly. It's like airdrop from the ancestors. No wires, just vibes and wisdom. The comment section on their live stream explodes. Follower 1. This podcast na fire. Follower 2. Where una they get all these proverbs from? Follower 3. Just subscribed. Y'all healing souls on vibes alone. Suddenly Kamsi's phone buzzes. He glances at it. Kamsi, surprised. No way. Dara, guess who just landed in Abuja? Dara, curious. I beg, no start with your cruise. Who? Kamsi, Jessica. Chief Anochi's son's wife from Florida. Dara freezes mid-laugh. Shock paints her face. Dara, Jessica. The same one-way file for divorce? Kamsi, yep, she flew in. Said she's coming for the awakening ceremony and the podcast, too. Dara slaps his shoulder playfully. Dara, stop lying, Jor. Kamsi holding phone up. CM! She even commented, landing Niger with purpose. Time to reconnect with the roots. Hashtag ancestors in sneakers. They say the gods are there, they have their own ways of doing things because of the great awakening between this families following the Thanksgiving rituals they performed during the reunion with the Chief Onochi's and the Marshall's family. The awakening Chief Onochi's son's wife, Jessica from Florida, United States, changed her mind from the divorce she filed against Chief Onochi's son and decided to join the celebration when she heard the news. The awakening and what the broadcast the Okoye's children were hosting on social media, she took everyone by surprise and flew into the country. Dara, wonders shall never end. This podcast go start healing marriages now. Kamsi, ancestral Bluetooth, I tell you. Jessica, glowing in a simple Ankara dress with matching head wrap, wheels her suitcase through the terminal. Her aura is calm but purposeful. Walking beside her is her twin brother, Michael, an athletic man in his early 30s, wearing a mix of urban streetwear and subtle African accents. So Onochi's son's wife decided to take everyone by surprise. She flew into the country with her twin brother Michael. Jessica to Michael, "Can you believe this? I was ready to sign those papers. But hearing that podcast, those kids, it stirred something in me." Michael, "Same here. Feels like we're finally meeting the other half of our DNA." Jessica, smiling. "This isn't just a trip, it's a pilgrimage." Back in the Okoye home, Mama Okoye walks into the studio holding a calabash of palm wine. Mama Okoye, "You children are shaking the spirits with all this talking. Your great-grandfather would have nodded in approval." Dira, teasing. "Mama, we even quoted him today." Mama Okoye, beaming. "Good. When your voice carries your ancestors, even heaven pauses to listen." Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Kamsi, checking camera. "It's Jessica." Chaos. Everyone runs to the door. When it opens, there stands Jessica and Michael, both surprised by the warm scent of ogbono soup and the rhythmic sounds of talking drums in the distance. Jessica, emotional. "I thought I was too far gone, but someone pulled me back." Mama Okoye, embracing her. "Child, your soul heard the drumbeat of its people, and it danced home." Michael, "We've been gone too long." Papa Okoye, emerging from the back. "You're not late. The ceremony starts when the heart arrives." Kamsi gestures toward the mic. Kamsi, "Jessica, will you join us on the next episode?" Jessica, smiling. "Only if I can tell the world why Florida can't compare to my roots." Cue traditional drumming again, but this time it blends with lo-fi beats. Sometimes the call of the ancestors doesn't sound like thunder. It whispers through Wi-Fi, podcasts, hashtags, until a wandering soul remembers the rhythm it once danced to. Back in the city, the Marshalls tried to uphold the same principles. They host small gatherings, chanting, fasting, drumming. At first, the neighbors are curious, some even attend, but Mr. Marshall is restless. Mr. Marshall, to his wife, "This fasting and drumming life no be for me a beg." Late one night, he stumbles in, reeking of alcohol. "Mrs. Marshall, you reek of alcohol and something else." Mr. Marshall, irritated. "Leave me alone, this is the real world." Mrs. Marshall, "You dishonor the very spirits you called to bless us." Mr. Marshall, "Which spirits? You want make I die poor and holy?" Mrs. Marshall, voice shaking, "So you'd rather die rich and empty?" He begins wearing flashy clothes again, skipping prayers, clubbing till dawn. One night their son overhears a phone call, Mr. Marshall, on phone, whispering, "Babe, you know say my house get wahala. I need peace, just you and me tonight." The child silently walks away. Weeks later, Mrs. Marshall collapses in the kitchen. She's rushed to the hospital. Doctor, somberly, "I'm sorry, madam. It's positive." Mrs. Marshall, "Please, wear your waist beads. Remember the blessings." Daughter, "Waist beads don't stop heartbreak, mama." The Marshall house fell apart. Arguments daily. Children became rude. Neighbors whispered. Neighbor 1, "You hear? That Marshall man don carry sickness enter house." Neighbor 2, "And they were acting like saints last month." Meanwhile, the Okoyes flourished. Their podcast trended. Their farm won an Eco Award. The Wellness Center was featured in a documentary. Sun, recording podcast. Lesson of the week: ancestors don't just watch, they reward consistency. A large cultural event. Drumming, traditional dances, food, people in rich African attire. Mr. Okoye walks in with grace, wearing a clean agbada and a confident smile. His son steps on stage, son, quoting, "He who knows not where the rain began to beat him cannot know where he dried his body." Igbo proverb. At the back, the Marshall house fell apart. Arguments daily. Children became rude. Neighbors whispered. Neighbor 1, "You hear? That Marshall man don't carry sickness enter him house." Neighbor 2, "And they were acting like saints last month." All that forming holiness. See them now, not disgrace full ground. Neighbor 3, "I even saw him last night, staggering from one beer parlor like that. Before we say Jack Robinson, they go start fighting again." One fateful night, Mr. Marshall stumbled home from a club, eyes red, shirt stained, breath reeking alcohol. He was robbed on a lonely path not far from his street. Robber 1, whispering to his partner, "This one don high finish, just collect everything. Him no even sabi where he day." Mr. Marshall, slurring, "Leave me. You know who I am? I will finish you." Robber 2, impatient, "Finish wettin'. Oya, drop your phone." He arrived home bruised, shirtless, and broken, physically and mentally. His wife, who had been crying herself to sleep that night, rushed to the door. Mrs. Marshall, shocked, "Jesus, what happened to you?" Frustrated, "This is the 3rd time this month. You promised." Mr. Marshall yelling, "Leave me alone," angry, "You think life is easy? I need to cool off sometimes." The chaos didn't end there. Mr. Marshall's reckless escapades with side chicks led to an unthinkable betrayal. In his careless wanderings, he contracted an STD and unknowingly passed it on to his wife. Mrs. Marshall, weeks later at the hospital, confused, "Doctor, please explain again. I don't understand. How did I test positive? I've never been with anyone but my husband." Doctor, calmly, "Ma'am, I understand your shock, but the results are clear. You have been exposed to an infection, one typically transmitted sexually. If you haven't stepped out of your marriage..." Mrs. Marshall, tears rolling, "Oh God!" Her heart shattered. The home she fought to build now became her prison. The children saw it all, felt it in the walls, in the meals that turned cold, in the arguments that drowned bedtime stories. Son shouting at his sister, "I hate this house. Dad is never around. Mom is always crying." Daughter, "Can't we just be normal for once? Why can't we eat together like the Onochi's family? Mr. Onachi has 3 wives, yet there's peace among them. Dad has just 1 wife. Our mom, yet there's no peace but chaos. Why can't we be like the Onochi family?" The children spiraled, once disciplined and bright, now unruly and distracted. Teachers called frequently. Fights became common. Teacher, at PTA meeting, "Mr. and Mrs. Marshall, we are concerned. Your son fought again today. And your daughter, she's been skipping classes." Mr. Marshall, defensive, annoyed, "You think I don't have better things to do than hear about misbehaving children?" Their attempts to emulate their ancestors became shallow. They dressed in cultural attire for school plays but mocked the philosophies they once revered. Son, mocking, "Scoffs, wisdom of the elders, please, that stuff is outdated. My friends on TikTok say otherwise." And so, one crisis followed the other. Disciplinary issues, health scares, debt, public shame. They abandoned their roots and reaped the chaos of disconnect. In contrast, the Okoys and the Onochis glowed differently. Chief Onochi was not a perfect man, but he chose wisdom over lust. Instead of chasing countless women like Marshall, he chose to marry those who captured his heart, as tradition permitted. Thoughtful. Though not mandatory, polygamy was a personal choice, one rooted in understanding, responsibility, and cultural alignment. Chief Onochi, grounded in values, maintained peace in his home. Jessica, his American daughter-in-law, at dinner, surprised. "I used to think culture was a cage," chuckles. "But watching you all, I see it's a bridge." Okoye's daughter, during podcast, Energetic. We blend, we don't bend. Culture is not chains, it's compass. Sun. Excited. Exactly. We rock our Ankara and still stream Spotify. We greet elders with respect and still host lives on Instagram. Balance is the real flex. In the end, peace wasn't about rejecting the modern world, but blending it with the ancient truths that held families together. The Marshall household became a cautionary tale, the Okoyes and Onochis, beacons of blended brilliance. Wise, a house without roots will sway with every wind. Culture is not the past, it is the foundation of the future. Mr. Marshall looks pale. Mrs. Marshall wears dark glasses, face cold. Mr. Marshall to Mr. Okoye. How did you do it? Mr. Okoye. I didn't fight the old or the new. I made peace between them. From the Okoye's family. When you know who you are, the world cannot confuse you. The ancestral way of life is not the enemy of progress, it's the foundation for it. You can blend tradition with modernity and find peace. From the Marshall's family. When you forget your roots, you lose your direction. Societal pressure without internal discipline leads to chaos. Wisdom not practiced is wisdom wasted.